Hi, I'm Larry Richardson, your step-by-step chef. In this episode, we're going to make a very delicious and simple chicken dish. It's pesto chicken. And it's exactly what we just said. It's pesto on chicken. And then we bake it up. It's a very delicious dish. I think you're going to enjoy it. So come on, let's cook. So here are the ingredients for our chicken pesto. I have a pound of boneless, skinless chicken breasts, 2 large bunches of basil, that's fresh basil. I have 2 cloves of garlic. We're going to use a half a cup of pine nuts, a third of a cup of grated Parmesan cheese, and you can buy a block of Parmesan cheese and grate that yourself if you like. We have 2/3 of a cup of olive oil. We're going to use 2 teaspoons of salt, 1/8 of a teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/8 of a teaspoon of onion powder, and finally just some canola oil spray so it doesn't stick to our baking pan. So let me show you how to put this together. So the first thing we're going to do is make our pesto. Now I have my oven for the pesto chicken preheating at 350. So start doing that now with the rack in the center position. And now all I'm doing is taking the leaves from the basil and putting them in my food processor. Now the food processors have come down way down in price, so you can get a pretty decent one for about $20 at a department store or online. If you don't have a food processor and you're good with a knife, you can literally take all of these ingredients and just chop them down. Chop them down as fine as you can, and then you just mix them in with the olive oil and you'll end up with a very nice pesto. But the food processor just saves time for me. And again, since the price came down, they are pretty affordable. So you might consider picking up a food processor next time you're out and about. So I'm just taking these leaves, putting them in. You don't have to be too meticulous because we are going to mix them up pretty well. I'm not going to bore you and show you every leaf picked, but I'll be right back. So I have all the basil leaves picked. And again, the basil was rinsed off, so it's all picked. Just going to close it. Give it a quick pulse. This is just a quick pulse to make some room for our other ingredients. So next what I'm going to do is just take our garlic. I'm just going to, you can either mince your garlic, remove the skin and mince it, or you can just take a crusher and give it a little bit of a head start. So I have this crusher, I'm just going to crush it right in there. And I do have another version of pesto that's for garlic lovers that really is loaded with garlic, and it is delicious on fettuccine. I suggest you look that up if you want just a pesto that you can have on fettuccine, without chicken or any other ingredients. It's actually quite18delicious. But I made it garlic version. If you want to, you can cut back on the garlic a little bit, and it will certainly have a less garlicky taste, of course. So I'm just crushing this in. The next thing we'll do is just add our pine nuts. Some escaped, of course. That's what happens when you're on live TV. And then we have our cheese. I'm just putting that in. Give it a nice sprinkle. And then we'll add our oil. Now, one of the secrets to this dish is that the ingredients can vary. The basil can vary, the garlic can vary, even the cheese you use. So what I like to do usually is keep a little bit of extra of every ingredient sitting off to the side, and then I just give this a little bit of a taste with a spoon and decide if it's the way I like it or not. And that way you can adjust it. It can just be that kind of a variable recipe. Oh, one more thing. Can't forget our salt. Then all we do is we take this and we're just going to pulse back and forth with our food processor. Most of these do have 2 settings, chop and grind, and I'm just going back and forth. Let's see what we ended up with. Ooh, that looks good. Now I'm just taking a clean spoon, giving it a little bit of a taste. Then I can see if I want to add anything else to it. More salt, more garlic, even more olive oil. If it's too stiff, it might need more olive oil, but this actually looks very balanced. That's perfect. And if you want to run it a little longer to smooth it out, you're more than welcome to. Everyone likes that texture a little bit different. Since this is going on chicken, I don't mind it a little bit rougher, but that is a very good mix. So next we'll prepare the chicken. So let's spray our pan. There we go, our glass dish. And then I have these chicken breasts that came thinly sliced. You can see how thin sliced these are. You can take a chicken breast would normally sit like that and be quite thick. You can just cut it like that. Cut it into two horizontally, and you'll end up with these thinner fillets. And I do recommend that you do that because it'll cook faster. And also the pesto will stand out a little better to the chicken if it's on a thinner sliced surface. Just turn that the right way. And the other thing that I've done in the past, and I'm sure everybody's done this at some point, is you can also take a chicken breast and kind of pound it down a little bit to flatten it out. But I really recommend that you cut it horizontally. It's just easier to do. And then to give the chicken a distinct flavor of its own, let's just add some salt to it. And then we'll add our onion powder. Just give it a little flavor. That'll mix nicely with the juices. And then just a little bit of garlic powder, just a dusting. Don't go overboard on this part. You don't want to overpower the pesto. And then we just remove the pesto from the food processor, because if we don't, and we press one of the buttons by mistake, we are going to be painted in pesto. So we just remove it, get the pesto mix off of the blades, and then just spoon pesto onto the chicken. This is going to be a very rich pesto chicken. I'm looking forward to it. There's plenty of pesto here, so you can be nice and generous with it. And again, the oven has been preheating at 350, and it will take this, it's going to take this about 35 to 40 minutes to cook, because these are thin chicken breasts. So I'm going to put them in, and I'll see you in about 35 to 40 minutes. So congratulations, look at what you just did. You just made this delicious baked pesto chicken. You're absolutely going to love this. The aroma, that pesto, is absolutely superb. Now, if you like this recipe, please visit my website, stepbystepchef.com. There you will find a printable version of this recipe, along with printable versions and free video links for over 160 delicious meals as of the time this video was made. There's probably a lot more there now. The other thing you're going to find is my cookbook, Cooking with the Step-by-Step Chef. Every November I will update this with the latest recipes from the previous year. They'll all be at your fingertips. It makes a great gift too, so I hope you will check this out. So again, my name's Larry Richardson. I am your Step-by-Step Chef, and I'll see you in the next episode.